There's this one in this video, and he was saying how other test subjects, besides 11, like 1 through 10, he says that most of them are dead, but others were like banished to the upside down, like they couldn't get out. And because they were in the upside down for so long, and you can see that it had an effect on Will. It had an effect on them because they were in it for so long that they transformed into what was the monster. So the monster was a recent test subject.
So Stranger Things Season 4 is the first entry in the series to be split up into 2 parts. On July 1st, we're going to be getting the second volume, with the final 2 episodes dropping the same day. These are going to be supersized, with the first being an hour and 25 minutes long, and the finale is coming in at an incredible 2.5 hours. Longer than My Last Relationship, this is going to have the runtime of most Marvel and Star Wars TV shows, and they have a lot of things that they can do in them. Throughout this video, I want to give our theories on where we think things will be going, whilst also going over some spoilers from part 1. No idea why you're here if you've not seen it, but on the off chance you got the watch order of the prediction video before the last season upside down, then this is your last chance to check out before we do a deep dive on the entire thing. If you're still here, thanks for sticking with me. Now let's turn it up to 11 and get into Stranger Things Season 4 Volume 2. Now the first major thing that comes from the end of Volume 1 is that I think it confirms 11 gets her powers back. Early on in the season, we heard Dr. Owens talking about how he thinks the Nina Project will revitalize her abilities and help in the upcoming war. In the series, we learn that this is through a giant machine with a flotation device in the middle that is equipped with television screens so that the person inside of it can view recordings. We learn that this name comes from the opera of the same name, created by Nicholas Dallarac. Skip it. Now this piece is basically about a woman who discovers that her lover was killed during a duel, and in order to save herself the pain of this, her brain buried the memory inside her subconscious. Completely hiding the trauma, she believed him to be alive and would venture out to a train station every day, believing that he would return. The truth of the matter was hidden from her by herself due to the anguish that came from it, and this is very similar to 11, who lost her powers after the events of Season 3. Nina is very much about her taking a trip into her subconscious to discover the truth about her past, and to also showcase to her how she gained her abilities in the first place. This not only gives us the truth about Vecna, but it's also basically going through the motions once more, so that she can remember how to tap into her abilities. Now because 11 manages to do this, and the season ends with us coming full circle from how it starts off, I do believe that this means her powers are now back. In taking a trip down memory lane, and through going through all the paces of the Nina Project, she has finally rediscovered them. So I think that come next time, my number 1 prediction, put it in writing, 11 will get her powers back. Make sure you stay tuned for more amazing predictions clearly spelled out in the show. I promise the video gets better. Not by much, but it does. Now, because of this, I think that we are obviously leading to a showdown between Vecna and 11. The pair's history was set up really well in this season, and it ended with 11 basically transforming him into the Freddy Krueger-esque monster that he became. He'll no doubt want revenge, and we discover in the season that he's the 5-star general for the Mind Flayer. With the next season being the final one, I think that part 2 will end with a big battle between the pair. We discovered in this season that there are ways to at least escape him, and this comes from having love for something. The series was very much about people who were distant from each other coming back together, and this motif was shown in Mike and 11, Lucas and Max, Joyce and Hopper, Dustin and his girlfriend, Steve and Nancy, and so on and so forth. I think that everyone will reunite for part 2, and this will be what empowers 11 to have enough energy to take Vecna down once and for all. In the teaser, we also catch Eddie thrashing away in the Upside Down, so it seems like the love for an item or object will be used heavily to take him out. Now because of the way that part 1 ended, I actually think that we'll pick up immediately on the other side of this, and that we'll catch him in the Upside Down as he comes face to face with the Mind Flayer. We discover that Vecna was obsessed with Black Widow spiders as a child, and with the Mind Flayer resembling one of these, he will likely start to worship him. I'd absolutely love to see his journey through the Upside Down, and we could also learn what shaped it. In this season, we discover that it's stuck in 1983 like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, and that it's not changed since the day Will Byers entered it. Now because of this, I think that the entire reality works much in the same way that the Dark Dimension does in Doctor Strange. This was a completely formless universe, but upon Strange entering it, it started to somewhat mirror him. In the behind-the-scenes stories on the production of the film, the creative team talked about how they cast Benedict Cumberbatch as Dormammu to show that the villain very much crafted his appearance of the first person he came across. I think that the Upside Down will likely be similar to this, and that it starts to alter the way it looks to seem similar to Hawkins because that's all it knows from the right side up. Perhaps Vecna will also help introduce this as well, as he's from our reality, and thus he can inform its appearance. This would explain why the Creel house exists down there too, because it's something that he knows from the real world. So prediction, forgot to do one for the last one, so predictions 2 and 3, 11 versus Vecna, and Vecna in the Upside Down, explained. Make sure you add explained, it's good for SEO. Now, the series also ended with Nancy being stuck down there with him. In the scene we watched as she attempted to climb from the upside down into the right side up, and it's at this moment that she was pulled across. Cut to Steve shouting in her face, unable to wake her, which is when Max realizes what's going on. To make matters worse, the season actually ends with her stuck down there with Vecna, but there is a clue as to how they'll get her out. At one point in the season, Robin goes through Nancy's things when they're at her house. This happens in episode 4, at roughly the 10-minute mark. During it, she comes across a music box that springs open and then shows directly to me, pointed at me, and she says, "Put this in your theory video," because it's theory time, theory time, theory time, theory time. So I think that this scene will come back around and that Robin will end up using the music box to pull Nancy out of the Upside Down. Can we put that on screen and text as well? Robin uses music box to pull Nancy out. However, I do think that during her visit to the Upside Down that she'll discover Vecna's true plan, and I think, right, that to him, he's doing things for the right reasons. Hold on a second, I'll explain. Now, the guy clearly has a twisted view of the world, and this was something that he developed early on in his life. The backstory we get treated to at Creel House very much tells us all we need to know about him and his goals. Vecna views humans as people stuck in routine, constantly counting the seconds, minutes, and hours until their death. He views everything as a massive waste of time, and talks about how he is very much trying to wipe out humanity because of what he deems as being destructive to the planet. However, the people that he kills all share something in common. They have a deep-seated trauma, and he thinks that he's freeing them from life. He believes that he's setting people free from all the anguish they've experienced, and this is actually mirrored in his journey with Eleven. She's stuck in a prison, constantly bullied, and he sees allowing her to escape as something of the utmost importance to him. This is likely reflected in the victims he chooses, namely Max, who's still feeling the guilt over the death of Billy. But f*** him, yeah, I said it, he's a f***ing dickhead. And I killed Sparky too. Now I think we will likely discover this, and also his endgame, which is to invade our world. We learn that the Upside Down works very much as a hive mind, and that he has a legion of bat-like monsters ready to swarm Hawkins. After cutting a tear between the realities, I think that he will unleash all of these, which will be a major part of Volume 2. So add that one, yeah? Vecna's plan, and that's what's gonna happen, you damn chump.
See you, chump.
Now, in order to counter this, I think that Brenner has been working on his own plan. We know that he studied Vecna when he was a child, and that he very much found a way to inhibit his abilities. I think Brenner has been brought back for a very important reason, and that he wanted to study Eleven's powers once more, so that he could find a way to permanently stop her abilities and the Upside Down. Guy seems like he might have actually changed, and after opening Pandora's box, he could end up wanting to close it. Lastly, I think the most obvious one is that Hopper and co. will get back to America. This first volume was very much about rescuing him from the hell that is Kamchatka, so I think next time will be about him getting back to the US. I'd love to see him back before the end of the season, but I think that Volume 2 will probably end with him finally touching down in Hawkins. From there, Season 5 can bring him back to 11, and I think the next part will focus on them trying to escape Russia before they make it back to the US. I think Season 5 will just hit the ground running and have all the characters back in Hawkins, and I can imagine this entry is very much just going to be about pulling them back into the area after the groups were split up. Put that on screen somewhere if you can, and that's the final theory, and now I'm going to pass it over to you. What do you think's going to happen? Comment below and let me know. We are running a competition right now and giving away 3 copies of the Batman on the 15th of June, and all you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your predictions and theories. We pick the comments at random on the 15th, and the winners of the last one are on screen right now, so if that's you, then message me on Twitter at HeavySpoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of the season, which will be linked on screen right now. We go over the entire ending and explain what happened, so definitely hit that video up right after this. But out of the way, thanks for sitting through this one. I've been Paul, I hope to see you next time. Take care, peace.